Hey everybody, Happy New Year! Jillian here for Illustrated Faith to share with you a brand new Bible journaling process video. First, I have to start off by saying, please excuse my froggy voice. I'm getting over a crazy cold and I just sound like I have a frog in my throat. So I'm really sorry about that, but I wanted to share what I created for you today. And so I am in Mark in chapter 6, verses 30 to 44. And this is where Jesus feeds the 5,000. And I decided to journal this because I feel like I've been hit over the head with this message like crazy recently. And that is that we can have as much Jesus as we want. And that's basically the phrase that I'm going to spell out here for today's entry in Mark 6. But I don't know about you, but those times when I see something over and over and over again, to me, that's just God saying, this is important, take note of this. And so that's why I decided to journal it today, like I said. So I'm using a mix of different things. I'm using the Wonky alphas from Blvd. I'm using the homespun alphabet stickers from Illustrated Faith. And then I'm going to put in some Wordfetti to spell out this phrase here. So I'm just kind of thinking about which alphabet sticker I want to use for which word, and then I'll go ahead and stick it down in the margin. And of course, I like to use my smaller Bible mat to line up the alpha stickers across the top. It makes just getting them down on the page a little bit easier, figuring out where I want them to go. So what's so sweet to me in this passage that I'm outlining here is verses 30 to 34. And so a little bit of background. Jesus had sent out the 12 disciples. They've now just come back, and his cousin, John the Baptist, his forerunner, has just been beheaded. So Jesus is probably really upset, grieving that loss, and he's got all these people that are super interested in him. And so verse 30 says, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, Jesus, said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all of the towns and got there ahead of them. And this is my favorite. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. So what jumps out to me about this is that Jesus is tired. So he's a pretty popular guy at this point, and because he's human, he needs to rest, right? And I think this speaks to me because I prioritize sleeping or just rest. Like, I protect it as much as I can. It's really important to me because I know what it's like when I don't have enough rest and how I really don't function well. And so Jesus, fully human, fully God, is grieving and is probably exhausted from just interacting with all of these people. That just jumped out at me and was really sweet to me because he said no to himself and yes to people. And it's just like when we need Jesus, when we want to pray to him, to talk to him, to abide in him, he's always available. That's what I wanted to just give thanks for and document here in the margin next to Mark 6. So you can see I've pulled out a bunch of the Faith Over Fear collection pieces from Blvd. I have the die cuts, and I pulled out one of the designer clips to put up at the top, just trying to figure out what I want on my page. I kind of have this weird thing where because I have cream Bible pages, I don't love the way that like stark white looks up next to it, and I really wanted to use this graphic die cut, but I didn't want to put it on the page. And then I realized, well, I could probably trace it. So this is when the really thin Bible pages come in handy. I was able to put the die cut underneath the page and see underneath it. And then I'm using the Illustrated Faith and Watercolor set here and a really, really small brush that I just picked up like in a multi-pack from an inexpensive, big box craft store. And I'm just really slowly going over the die cut that I can see underneath the page. And I really like how it turned out. And I did get a little paint on the die cut piece, but I'm not going to sweat it. I'm, at this point, just going to think of using it as like a template. So I really liked how it was going off of the page on the bottom and wanted to recreate the same thing on the top. And so I'm just going to do the same thing. It's a little bit more difficult because I've got the text kind of competing on the page too, but I wasn't going for perfection, it was just really, really fun to do, and I was pleasantly surprised with the result. So get creative with your die cut pieces. Maybe if you, like me, are not the best at drawing things, tracing might just be a really great technique for you. So you can see I'm kind of pressing down on the page with the end of my paintbrush to help me see where those lines are underneath the text where it's a little more difficult to distinguish them. I went over it a couple times because there were some lines that were more pigmented than others and just kind of evened that out. And that's it. So I love this graphic, bold look on the page along with the mixed up alphas, and it's really fun. I had a lot of fun creating this entry. I knew absolutely that I wanted to use these adorable enamel hearts, and I ended up swapping out the dot for the eye with one of the enamel hearts, and then here I'm just going to go nuts and put them all over the page. So I'm really sticking to 3 colors, the aqua, the yellow, and the pink, and I'm just going to put those colors all around. These types of entries are some of my favorites, where you're really just focusing on a phrase or a title on the page, like there wasn't much paint or really anything else going on. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that with my heat tool to help speed up that black watercolor, because I would be the one to drag my sleeve through the wet paint and then mess up the page. So here I'm trying to figure out what I want to put on the top, and I really love the tracing that I did, that I don't want to cover it up with that clip anymore. So I'm going to go through the paper pieces here from the Faith Over Fear collection and pull out a couple of tab options. And I decided to go with this black and white one. It's like a fold over tab. Those are some of my favorites. And I'm just going to figure out where I want to put it, and then I'll end up at the top of the entry right here. So I went to go quickly grab one of my Illustrated Faith tape runner and then get that tab up at the top. But first I want to write my journaling before I forget it, because I've kind of been thinking about it throughout the page here. And I just simply wrote, "Thank you, Jesus, for always saying yes to spending time with me. Quality time is my love language, and so the fact that Jesus is available whenever I need to spend time with him just is really, really special to me." And then I remember this verse in James 4, it's verse 8. So I looked that up at the back here and just kind of wanted to write that reference down where it says, "Come near to God and he will come near to you." So again, just Jesus saying yes when we want to spend time with him. And so that was what inspired my little Wordfetti that I decided to use at the top. I used the word "come" and then finished it off with another teal enamel heart. And that's going to do it. Here's a finished look at my page. All of the supplies I used are linked in the video description below. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me a comment and I'd be happy to answer those for you. I hope you have a great day, Happy New Year, and I'll see you next time.